I can only imagine, Rob, do your worst, because that was 26 minutes, I believe, of Hannah and Courtney trying desperately to keep Mark on the line and figure out the switchboard. Another reminder why, if you are trying to start a podcast, you desperately need a producer like good old Rob.
You really do.
You really do.
And I'm so sorry because of Mark. Oh, my God.
That's okay.
Most people would be like, fuck this shit. I'm going to go do what I was doing.
Exactly. But we are happy to have you here, and we are excited to hear about whatever it is that you wanted to tell us about.
Okay. Hi, I'm Hannah.
And I'm Courtney.
Join us as we delve into true crime, paranormal encounters, and all things spooky.
Grab your flashlight and get ready to wander into the darkness with us.
This is Wicked Wanderings. Hi, Courtney.
Hi, Hannah.
And we have a special guest.
Drum roll, please.
Cousin Mark! In the flesh, sort of.
In the virtual flesh.
I am always happy to be here, hanging out with you beautiful ladies.
Oh, shucks.
Oh,
Don't give us
he's really
airs.
laying it on us now today, guys.
Sitting here with my cool Wicked Wanderings douche canoe t-shirt that I have.
Wicked cozy teas.
I mean, honestly, I just want to, like, tear up. Because, like, Court, I know that you've been a wanderer forever and you came into this podcast willing and able to do it with me. But, like, from the beginning, like, that shirt, I'm just like, oh, my God, that's, like, the beginnings of Wicked Wanderings. And just, like, oh, just gives me the tears. So, Cousin Mark, I just appreciate your support to us. Really, I really do.
Absolutely. I love it. All right. So I have today a very nice young man called Peter Sutcliffe.
Wait. A very nice young man. That's usually not how we start any podcast.
Better known as the Yorkshire Ripper.
Oh, okay. So nice, maybe not so much.
Not so nice.
But I guess like Bundy was described as nice, right?
Oh, don't get Bundy involved.
Mark
don't
the record.
Do it.
1 minute and 54 seconds in, and Courtney brought up Bundy, not Hannah.
Oh, boy. So, Peter Sutcliffe, he was a piece of work, that one. He was born in 46, had two normal parents, as they went along, and he was born premature.
Oh.
So he was a small baby when he was born, had some of those disabilities of being premature, small. He had a stutter and things like that, which, made him a target for bullies in school.
Mm-hmm.
Going through school, most of the time, he just isolated himself, and he'd stand on the side while all the kids were playing and whatnot, and just kind of be a loner on his own.
But two normal parents, you said.
Well, as normal as you can get. I mean, it was the 40s and 50s, so...
True. I suppose a little amount of trauma naturally is sprinkled in there.
Well, his father did beat his mother.
Okay. Yep, there's the trauma. There's the trauma we were talking about.
Yeah. He didn't beat the kids. It was just mom.
Okay.
And,
I mean, not great, but still, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, a little better. But, as a smaller child and having some difficulties, his mother doted on him. She was like, he's the greatest thing in the world, my baby boy and whatnot. As he goes along through life, he doesn't have the common stereotypes that a serial killer would have.
Interesting.
He didn't have trouble with wetting the bed or fires or cruelty to animals.
Right, kind of all those classic things that we've heard about so many times when you're reading about serial killers.
Yeah. He went to college.
Okay, so he's educated.
Yeah, and he had a girlfriend from high school, and she also went off to college. During the week, he didn't get to see her. He only got to see her on the weekend. And then there were times where during the weekend, she wouldn't come home, so he wouldn't be able to see her. Well, come to find out, she was cheating on him.
Oh.
He was beside himself, so he went up there and confronted her while she was with the other guy that she was with. nothing ever happened from it, but they kind of worked things out and stayed together.
Okay, so they did ultimately end up staying together. I felt like
They
automatically, I was like, "Here's the dark turn. He's gonna say that he already killed this woman or that he killed the other guy." Okay, you got me on my toes.
Yeah. So as he's getting older, he takes a job at a graveyard.
Ooh.
Now it's getting
Okay.
dark. Now it's getting dark. Okay.
So while he's working at the graveyard, he just jumped down into one of the graves and decided to take a nap after digging the hole.
Not something I would do.
I'm sorry,
but-
take a nap?
Take a nap after digging. He was tired in the grave.
I mean,
without the body though, because I mean, right? Like the.
I mean, I
Yes,
guess
without the body.
I mean, I guess it's only a
would be
hole then. You know
tired.
what I'm saying?
Yes.
It's a hole that will be a grave soon, but it's only a hole.
Exactly.
At that point.
I
It's
mean,
not a
I guess
grave.
I would be tired too. Okay.
Yeah, it's kind of. So as he's sitting in this hole, he starts hearing voices.
Mm.
Oh, okay. All
Okay.
right. Nope,
Imagine
now we start
that.
getting there. Yep.
Imagine that. You hear voices. He comes out of it, and the gravestone is talking to him.
Oh,
That's where the voice is coming from one of the gravestones.
so the stone itself, not the person
Was talking.
associate. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Kind of like the son of Sam, David Berkowitz. His neighbor's dog, he said, was talking to him.
I mean, at least a dog is like an actual living being, though, right? I mean, like a gravestone is a little bit different.
Well, see, here's the thing with that. He was devoutly Catholic. So he says, that's got to be God talking to me.
Yes.
Of course.
God in the form of a gravestone.
course.
Yeah, that checks out. I don't
That's
know why
it.
you wouldn't think that.
Exactly.
I have to say, I'm sorry. Like, growing up very religious, there were so many men, never women, really. They were like, oh, God, talk to me. I'm like, well, why you? Like,
Why, of all the human beings,
Right.
you?
Why you?
Funny you say that, Hannah, because he said that God was talking to him personally. If it wasn't just him personally, then everybody else would hear God talking to them.
What?
So God was focusing on him.
I just feel like the last couple of years, the relationship, okay, this might be getting personal, but the relationship I have with God, right, is just, it boggles my mind with the amount of people that are in the world, right? Why them?
I don't think people who
Yeah.
are in that position, like especially if you're laying in graves to sleep, I don't think you're in the position to be like, you know what, this magical man has chosen me, and why? I think we're just really
Like-
stuck on the he chose me.
I don't know, like this supposed really big being, right? And if you're not going to believe in the Big Bang or whatever, like kudos to you, like whatever you believe in, why would they choose you?
Yeah,
But
I just
also,
struggle with that.
yeah, I don't know.
why would God let all these bad things happen?
Yeah, I guess that's where people's different gods come into play, because we hear that a lot with different serial killers or people who are aggressive towards other people.
And I think
Yeah.
that's a very good point, because Mark, like being a person that grew up in the church, and you might appreciate this as well, like why, if you have a God that is all knowing, all being, why would they allow this all stuff to happen? Like, I get that.
Encourage it, not even just
exactly.
allow it to happen. Why would they encourage it?
I get that. Why would you allow these people to be anyways? So
Well, everyone says that God created man in his own image.
Okay.
So a psychopath, a serial killer says, well, if he made us in his own image, he must be just like me. Psychotic, unfeeling. But you talk to other people and they're like, oh no, God's good. God made us perfect. Things like that. But it all depends on how the brain processes all the information.
which raises a lot of questions, right? Like, it's just
Exactly.
It's interesting. It certainly is
yeah.
interesting.
yeah.
Sorry we derailed you.
Yes.
Cousin Mark.
Please keep going.
No, that's okay. That's okay, because you just made me remember that before and I'm upset that I missed this, but before he got the job as a gravedigger, he was also in a motorcycle accident and had a traumatic brain injury.
And that'll really
Oh,
throw
that
a
would-
lot of things for a loop.
Yes,
A traumatic brain injury really put you through some stuff.
Yes, it would.
Yes. Yes, it does.
So then it's like, are you hallucinating, or are you having a psychotic break, or is it the traumatic brain injury? There's a lot more to play there. Yeah.
And what were the years for this again? I'm sorry.
He was born in 46, so
they did not know a lot.
They did not know a lot.
Not know a lot, or really consider traumatic brain injuries to be that serious.
Yep.
Yeah.
Nope. Rub some dirt on it and get back out and fight.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, so sad.
So he has the motorcycle accident. He has his father beating his mother. He has his girlfriend cheating on him. He also has his father figure out that his mother was cheating on his father.
Okay. And I'm sure that creates a really negative image towards women for him. They're all cheaters.
Well, his father found out where the mother was meeting her man.
Oh, boy.
Peter and his father went to the hotel room and caught them.
So he brought his son with him to do that?
They brought him with them and humiliated her in front of everybody. And he ends up grabbing the purse from her and pulls out the lingerie that she was going to wear while she was there.
Oh, yikes.
So this whole thing is that he's now seeing women as liars.
Right, exactly.
Yep.
After he found that his girlfriend had cheated on him, he was going to go cheat on her with a prostitute.
Oh, and here we go bringing the prostitute. I feel like serial killers at a certain point are very similar. The lying, the cheating, the prostitutes.
Yep.
He goes to have sex with her, and she just walks in, strips down, and says, all right, let's go. And he's like, wait a minute, that's not how this is supposed to go.
It is when you're paying by the hour.
Oh, my God.
It's the first time with a prostitute, and he's going, wait a minute, I thought there was going to be some, something romantic, some foreplay or something.
Definitely not. You pay extra for that.
Nope, yeah, exactly.
So he's like, all right, I can't do this. Let's call it quits. And he had given her a 10-pound note, which back then at that time was like $50 now.
So he just sent her on her way. He was like, thanks, but no thanks.
Oh, no. He said, you were supposed to give me change when we got here. You haven't done that because it was supposed to be $5. And she says, well, bring me back to where I was and I'll give it back to you. So he drives her back to the garage where he picked her up, and she walks in and he's out there in the car for like 10 minutes and she doesn't come back out.
Naturally.
What the hell's going on? So next thing you know, this guy comes out and tells him to, fuck off. She's not doing anything.
Right.
So now he's got a bad taste in his mouth.
Right.
Again,
with a prostitute and
women are liars. Yeah, that reinforces again, women are liars. She said, I'm going to go in there, I'm going to get the change and come back. And obviously her pimp was like, nah, we're not doing that.
So between then, his first murder, he had attacked a few women, but they survived because he didn't actually know what he was doing yet. So there were a few attacks, but no one died. No one could identify him or anything.
When you say attack, do you mean like physical attack, or is it like a sexual attack and a physical attack?
No, just physical. The police didn't know about the attacks until later because, nobody had come forward because there was really nothing to come forward about because they didn't know who it was.
Right. And I didn't imagine it was going to be sexual in nature just because it doesn't seem like if he's the kind of guy who couldn't have sex with a prostitute who was standing right there in front of him, he probably wouldn't be the kind of guy who could do it.
Very good point.
For
point.
aggression and things like that. Yeah.
But I also think back then, like, it was different when you're reporting these type of attacks.
Yes.
Yeah, especially but also, were not believed. So,
right.
Well, especially at that time, and especially being a prostitute. They don't want to bring attention to themselves if they don't have to.
Right.
Yeah, there was
if you're going to report a sexual attack, it's like, well, that's your job.
Well, but they weren't sexual. They were just physical attacks. So, but I also feel like at that time, women were supposed to be like seen, not heard. So
objectified. They're objectified. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. But at this time, there were a lot of mills in the area for the industrial age that were shutting down because the war's over and they didn't need all those things anymore. So people were having trouble making money because the jobs were disappearing. So that's why a lot of women started to turn to prostitution because it was a quick way to make money.
Yeah.
Work what your mama gave you.
Right, exactly.
That's it. So, we talked about this in the Gary Ridgway episode where, mothers would look at their kids and say, why are you being a prostitute? You can come work at the diner. And it's like, I'm going to make like half the money at the diner and
absolutely
and 3 hours as a prostitute.
Absolutely. 100%. I
No.
agree with that. Absolutely.
All right. So we've established that Peter Sutcliffe does not like women.
Mm-hmm.
You know, his parents didn't really do much to dissuade him from disliking women. So we now come to October of 75, where he takes his first life. There's a mother of four named Wilma McCann. And she was only killed 150 yards from her house.
Yikes.
You know, he came up from behind her, hit her in the head with a ball-peen hammer repeatedly.
As if more than once was necessary.
Right, seriously.
Yeah. Stabbed her. Well, see, this is where the previous attack where people survived, that he started to realize that he needed to be more aggressive when he did this.
So was that a
Which
pattern
is why-
of his? Showing up behind somebody
Yes.
and beating? Okay, that makes sense.
And hitting them with a hammer.
Specifically, he had his lucky hitting hammer.
Yeah. So he ended up stabbing her with a screwdriver
Oh,
after he hit her with the hammer.
poor woman.
When the police started to investigate this, they associated it with her being a prostitute because of the area that they were in, which is a high area of prostitution.
Was she a prostitute, or did they just mistake her for a prostitute?
No, she was a prostitute.
Okay, all right.
And when the news got a hold of it, the news started calling them good time girls
Oh, I hate that.
instead of prostitutes.
What? I hate that. That's not a cute way to say prostitute. Stop that shit.
So that was in October of 75. January of 76, he ended up taking out Emily Jackson, who was a mother of two.
Okay, so we're seeing mothers. We're seeing mothers as a trend.
So far it is, yeah.
Also a
He was
prostitute?
also staged. No, mothers and prostitutes.
Oh, okay.
It just so happened to be they were both. So with Emily, she was staged. So when whoever found her, so her legs were spread open and, you know, made for a shock value for when someone found her. She was stabbed 56 times with a screwdriver and also had the circular wounds on the back of the head of a ball-peen hammer.
Mm. So the same
This
exact
one-
thing. Yeah.
This one was also stepped on, so they were able to retrieve a footprint from her thigh, which was they ended up determining was a size 7.
Oh, so he's a
That's
small
actually,
man.
yeah, very
He's
small.
a small man.
Yes. So, you know, has the small man syndrome.
Right. And that kind of narrows it down, I'm assuming, as a search, too, because you're like, okay, we're looking for somebody with a somewhat
Very much so.
specific
That's
size.
very
7 is
tiny.
actually kind of small for a woman's foot, too.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So we now move to April of 77, over a year later, and he ends up killing 28-year-old Irene Richardson. She was also struck in the head and stabbed repeatedly. So she has the same MO of killing. And what the police determined was that all three were not sexually assaulted. So that's starting to remind people of another famous killer in England. You may know him.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, who?
Any guesses?
I don't know. Who could it be?
That would be our good old friend Jack.
Jack the Ripper.
And since he was from the Yorkshire County, they dubbed him the Yorkshire Ripper.
So, knowing what we know about Jack the Ripper now, with who he is, right? They've decided
Yes.
who he is, which is kind of
We've
sad
talked about that a few times where it's like lost its luster because of that, which is
Yes,
so. I have to preface by saying, like, we are so sorry for the victims' families because obviously,
Yes.
like, they all should get their justice. But I do think the lore piece of it, like, it almost seemed like this person was too big to be real. Like, you weren't human; you were something else.
And I was really
larger
hoping,
than life.
yes,
I was really
exactly.
hoping that H.H. Holmes had something to do with it, and whatever.
It would have been an interesting twist.
Yes, it really would have.
That's true.
It really would have. Knowing who Jack the Ripper is, supposedly now, does that lose anything for the case you have for us right now?
I'm sorry, does it what?
Lose anything, like any luster for what you have for the case now?
No, of course not.
Okay.
Does it prove
Because
anything?
everybody's their own individual.
Yeah.
He's escalated a little bit quicker now. and he's on to June of 77, where he attacks 33-year-old Patricia Atkins. She was the first one that he actually killed at home.
In her home, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because she was a prostitute, and he made it to her place, for their transaction. When he killed her...
Oh, that's a great way to put that, Mark. I love how you were like, for her transaction.
Well, it's a business.
It is a business. Respect the hustle.
As he's in there and he kills her, he ends up tracking footprints through the house.
Again.
So now they have footprints to test against other footprints. So at this time, the police are narrowing it down to the dislike of prostitutes. And the media is putting out there that if you're not a prostitute, then you're safe. Big mistake. Because in the same month, he ends up murdering 16-year-old Jane McDonald.
Who was clearly not a prostitute.
But clearly not a prostitute. So was it a mistake? Or is he just angry at women and not prostitutes?
Or maybe it was an opportunity thing. I know we've definitely talked about that for other cases too. Like,
absolutely.
Even with the OCCK, like, Jill Robinson's case, I think about that where it was like, why was she shot and everybody else was strangled? Was it one of those things where it was like, oh shit, she's not dead? Is it somebody saw something and they shouldn't have seen something, or that urge just got too high and there wasn't another opportunity? So
at this point, the public's outraged because the investigation is not going the way it should, and they haven't found any suspects yet.
Fair.
So the head of the police decided to bring in new investigators to re-jump the investigation. But at this time, there's no DNA because he hasn't done anything to leave any DNA. All there was for them at this time is to do blood grouping, which doesn't really narrow down your search that much. So
right. Probably the size 7 shoe narrows it down more.
Yeah, we got that. So now we're in the July of 77 where he attacked Maureen Long, but she survived.
Oh no, not again.
There's a couple in his murder spree that end up surviving. She was hit in the head like the rest, but apparently she was able to survive it.
Shit. And that makes me wonder, like,
the head injuries?
But like, if he's normally like the other women, he hit in the head and then he stabbed them. So he didn't stab her, but for what reason? Did he really think that the blow to the head had done the job? Did somebody startle him? Did he not have enough time? He didn't really want to kill her? I got a lot of questions about this.
That's a good question to have. I don't remember if they said anything about him being spooked at the time to not finish, but they did have a witness now.
Right.
And they had an officer pose as her boyfriend, chaperone, whatever you want to call it. They went back to the club that he picked her up at to see if he showed back up, and he never did.
So he's smart, at least. He knew that. He must have known she survived.
Yeah, well, she also had some brain damage, too, and couldn't remember much.
From the
poor woman.
Hits the head.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Damn it.
So at this point, after they've regrouped the investigation, they had an incident room that they had over 270 people working on this case. And then we come to October 77, where he kills 20-year-old Jean Jordan. She was found 9 days after she disappeared. This one was a little different from the rest of them, though, because he must have thought differently after the last one survived, because this one, her hair was burnt off, her face was smashed.
Oh, God.
Her breasts were cut off.
I'm sorry, her tits were what?
Cut off.
He cut them off.
So he was really taking his hate out on women on her body. Yeah.
Do we know if this was post-mortem or not?
Not that I know. Well, after hitting her in the head and smashing her face, I'm sure the rest of it was just anger.
Yeah, and that shows his character too, where it makes me think that he didn't intend to leave the other person alive. And it was like, look at all this anger and rage I have pent up about how angry I am that the other one got away.
Oh, my God. Oh, God.
So it's far more violent than the other ones. I mean, the other ones were violent.
Yes.
The other ones were violent, but that one was far.
Yeah.
No, that's insane.
Well, that's the thing. She was found in Manchester, which was a long way from Yorkshire. but he hid her in a hedge. And when she wasn't discovered, he went back and moved her.
He liked the attention.
Yes.
Okay, so he's an attention guy. That's important to know.
It also looked like he was looking for something and he couldn't find it. And then he slashed the body out of anger. So a lot of that was post-mortem.
Okay. So it was unclear if he was like really upset about the other person getting away or just people not catching on and giving him that like attention and that credit maybe?
Well, no. What happened with this was he had given her a 5-pound note.
Okay.
Okay. And apparently at this time in England, the companies hand out pay packets. So all the money that's in the packet has been analyzed and can be traced if need be.
Okay.
So when he gave her the 5-pound note, he was going to kill her and take it back. He couldn't find it, which is what got him angry.
Okay, yeah, because that could have been tracked.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. That
and
makes
that
a lot more
leads,
sense. Yeah.
And that leads them to interviews of the males in factories where the packet would have been handed out. And that's one of the things. As this investigation went on, he was interviewed 9 times.
God, that's insane.
And they never figured it out. So it's very possible that during that, he was one of the people that were interviewed throughout the factories. Now we come to December of 1977. Here's another one that survived. That was Marilyn Moore. She survived the attack, but they did find tire tracks, and those tire tracks matched Irene Richardson's crime scene.
Oh, shit.
And Marilyn Moore was able to give a description. So now they actually had a photo to go by from her sitting down with the artist. So in February of 1978, he ended up killing 18-year-old Helen Richter. She was found in a lumber yard by police dogs on a search because they had gotten rumors that there was something out there. And she, again, was murdered the same way with the hammer blows and the stabbings, ice pick, and screwdrivers and things like that. So the police managed to round up a 30,000-pound reward for any information leading to the capture. They also had so much paperwork in this incident room that they had to reinforce the structure of the building with concrete to make sure the floor didn't collapse.
Wow. That's a lot of paperwork.
That's how they were talking millions of pieces of paper. And they were getting phone calls and tips nonstop.
Shit.
We now move to March of 1978, where he has taken 21-year-old Yvonne Pearson. So she was hidden a little more than some of the other ones were because a passerby saw a hand sticking out of the garbage pile that she was underneath.
Oh.
So he was hiding them, but trying to hide them so they could still be found.
Right, like hiding in plain sight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that was BTK, Dennis Rader. When nobody was reporting on the murder that he had committed, he was calling up news stations and telling them that they were going to find someone somewhere.
Right, wanting that attention when that attention is the biggest component. Because if you think about it, other than, I mean, some people get satisfaction out of killing in general. I can't imagine it, but it is true. Other than the satisfaction of killing, what else is this person getting out of killing these women other than attention? Nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So Hannah will know BTK was getting upset because Bundy was getting all this publicity.
Jealousy.
No one knew anything about him. So he had written a letter to the news channel and it said, how many people do I have to kill before you guys start taking me seriously?
Apparently more.
Yeah, no kidding.
Which is just terrible.
Mm-hmm.
It's terrible.
Yes, it is. So we get to May of 1978 where he kills 41-year-old Vera Millward. She was dragged out into the field that she was found in because what happened was he pretended to have car trouble once he got her in the car. So they went up to the front and opened up the hood, and as he asked her to help him look, as she was looking, he hit her in the head with a hammer.
That seemed to be like the MO. for a lot of these guys. Like,
yeah, I think if I was in the
trouble.
car and somebody said, I'm having some car trouble, I'd be like, figure it out yourself, buddy. I'm staying in the car.
Or like, even if I had car trouble, like, I will figure it out myself.
I'll just stay locked in this car.
Good.
Thank you. Oh, well, on that sad note, we're going to have to do a two-parter for you guys because Hannah and I were reckless. Cousin Mark was on topic. Rob's going to kill us, but everybody should look forward to a part 2.
Absolutely.
Sorry, Cousin Mark.
We can do a pick a card, any card. Pick a card, any card.
Here we go. I have the Queen of Hearts, and it's Teresa Corley.
Sounds familiar.
Really?
Yeah.
On December 8th, 1978, a 19-year-old girl was found strangled in a ditch off Route I-495 in Bellingham.
Okay.
She went missing from Franklin. If you have any information, please call 1-855-MA-SOLVE.
That one sounds really familiar.
There you go.
The picture is very familiar.
Let me see.
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah, no, the picture is very
familiar, right?
I'm wondering. I definitely have read an article on her, but there's also a couple of really big podcast episodes about her, so that could have been it too.
Also, can we discuss what happened in, Waterbury, Connecticut?
What happened there?
There was a person that was held hostage for like 20 years.
Yikes. When did that come up?
Oh, was that the kid? The stepson?
Yes. And he had like basically no water, no food. He was malnourished, and he set fire to the house just so he could get out.
I mean, smart.
Yeah, I remember hearing that.
Yeah. So
that was crazy.
Stepmom is on trial, but she got out on bail. That's like what gets me, on bail.
Well, they don't think she's a flight risk, so.
Well, I guess the father died a year ago, so she's like, oh, it was all the father's fault, but...
Yeah, but like a year ago, why didn't he get let out?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But yeah, he set fire with a piece of paper, hand sanitizer, and a lighter.
I just looked it up.
Nice.
Yeah,
was it Waterbury?
Yeah.
Yep.
She was arrested on Wednesday and charged with first-degree assault, second-degree kidnapping, first-degree unlawful restraint, cruelty to persons, and first-degree reckless endangerment.
What was disgusting about it is that he was pulled out of school when he was 11, and they filed on the family, and nothing was done. That's what's disgusting.
What I do think is so, like, I'm just scrolling the first article that I found, obviously, and there's a quote from the chief of Waterbury Police saying 30 years in law enforcement, and this is the worst treatment of humanity that I have ever witnessed.
Yeah. So, and they see some things too.
Yeah,
they see things, right? But like, this family was filed on and nothing was done. Like, there was locks on the outside of this door. Like, if you did any type of investigation.
Yeah,
it's
and that's
sick.
I mean, and we know
that's crazy.
Just as much as anybody, the DCF system is broken. It's completely broken, and I know that a lot of people feel hindered by the fact that they get involved, but it's like their job is to get involved to determine if there's a threat or not.
Yeah,
they really. I've heard just so many cases where they don't get involved, and there's this bigger thing going on.
Yeah,
it's really troubling.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us, Cousin Mark. We always love to have you, especially when we give you no notice and we just blow up your phones with a what you doing. I 100% just slid right into Mark's DMs and was like, hi, what's happening? What you want to do?
What's up, Marky Mark?
I called him Marky Mark.
All right.
We will see you guys next time. Goodbye, Hannah.
Bye. Thanks for listening today. Wicked Wanderings is hosted by me, Hannah.
And co-hosted by me, Courtney.
And it's produced by Rob Fitzpatrick.
Music by Sasha N.
If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to leave a rating and review, and be sure to follow on all socials. You can find the links down in the show notes. If you're looking for some really cozy t-shirts or hoodies, head over to the merch store. Thank you for being a part of the Wicked Wanderings community. We appreciate every one of you. Stay curious, keep exploring, and always remember to keep on wandering. A sincere expression of gratitude to our esteemed patrons for their generous monthly contributions. Cousin Mark and Ashling,
Karen and
Stephanie, you too can become a valued patron and unlock a realm of exclusive content by supporting our mission for as little as $3 a month. Your contributions sustain our commitment to delivering high-quality content. Visit wickedwanderingspodcast.com and click on the support tab to join the ranks of our dedicated patrons. Thank you for considering this opportunity to deepen your engagement with Wicked Wanderings. Your support is paramount in enabling us to continue our journey into the realms of mystery and true crime.